Hey everybody, Rhys Thomas here of the Rhys Thomas Institute of Energy Medicine and the Rhys Method coaching programs. Today, I want to talk to you about courage, real courage, not just courage, that we see on TV, which is real courage and running into a burning building. So I want you to think about, what do you think of as courage? Courage is running into a burning building, or courage could be any of the things that we talked about before, which we could also be called crazy, jumping out of a helicopter or out of a plane, or any of the crazy things that we do. But also, courage is really sort of standing and fighting for things. Courage might be like going into a war zone with just a knife, or courage could be, it can be standing up for the weak and fighting for what's right, or courage can be not saying something. There's lots of different types of courage, and courage can also be just telling someone that you love them when you really love them, and even when you know that they can't love you back, or they're not in that place right now. So learning how to be courageous is something that we all have to have, and there's lots of levels of courage. But in the last video that I sent out, we talked about that the most important kind of courage you can have is the courage that allows you to express who you are. And so being really clear, having clarity of purpose, knowing who you are, knowing who you are, gives you the ability to be courageously able to stand for that. If you don't know who you are, you'll tend to be courageously standing for things that may not actually be who you are. And so I hope you all took advantage of, if you hadn't already, took advantage of my free profile assessment on rhysmethod.com and rhysthomasinstitute.com, or the full profile assessment, so you could really start understanding the depth of what of the core qualities you might have, and those core qualities that are really something you have to be courageous enough to share and to be, and your real courage is going to be to stand for that. It's like, what do you stand for? And to understand that I hate labeling people, even though I created, and my book is coming out in August called Discover Your Purpose, and it's all about figuring out which of the 5 kinds of people you are. Are you really a creative person like me? Are you a real deep feeler? Are you a compassionate caretaker? Are you a super achiever and driven? Or are you a charismatic leader who just is constantly inspiring and able to inspire people? To know which one of those 5 you are isn't about labeling yourself so you can then not have to make a decision. Well, I'm always this and I'm always that. It's not like that at all. It's each of those qualities are an acknowledgement of your greatness. And this is really important to understand. My system does not label you. It acknowledges an essence within you, something that is the source of what gives you both energy and courage to do the things you need to do in your life. Find the career, find the work. Don't settle for less. Don't settle for, oh, this is okay. Really, really say, this is what I stand for. I stand for this. And relationships that really feed you and serve you. And you can imagine, for each of the people, creative people want very different types of relationships, very different types of work. And really soft, loving people want very different types of relationships and work. And so understanding which one you are, and understanding that that's your greatness, and that has within it the way you're going to express yourself in the world, which means that you're going to have to be courageous enough to do it even when someone else would like you to be someone that you're not. And so what I want to do is I just want to run through what courage looks like for each of these 5 qualities within you. So courage for a creative person, courage for a creative idealist, is to not just to write the book, not just to make the painting, not just to come up with a computer program that does these things, or come up with a new way of thinking about everything, like Eckhart Tolle did, or maybe I did with the profiles. It's actually feeling like you can put it out there. You can do it. Your ideas count. That's courage. Creative idealists will just keep spinning and keep creating because they're afraid, they fear that their ideas are so different, so off the charts, that nobody will accept them. Nobody will reject them. And so they just stay away. So real courage for the creative idealist is to bring your creative notions, tell people about them, and do not be afraid of people going, whoa, too much information. Those aren't your people. You've got to find your people. And the way you find your people is by sharing your brilliance. Okay, so that's one. What about the super soft people? What's courage for someone who's really soft? Well, in this world, courage for someone who's really soft is actually being really soft. And not being hurt, not being overwhelmed by your feelings, which is a rejection of your feelings, but to actually accept that you're a deep feeler. And you'll feel deeply sad in moments, and the next moment you'll feel just like floating and flying. And next moment you'll feel this deep love and compassion. And the next moment you'll feel like, I'm so mad, I can't stand it. But the flow of your feelings is so important. Courage is allowing your feelings to flow and not hide from them, not go up into thinker and say, I'm not going to have those feelings, or a rule keeper where I'm going to control these, I've got to control my feelings, or excessively trying to explain your feelings to somebody. Just have them, just enjoy them. And so the types of work you might do, the types of things you're going to do are going to have heart-centered, really connective, mostly one-on-one, not big group. You don't go like that. So your greatness is this ability to connect from the heart at a very gentle, soft level. And so courage for someone who's that soft is going to be really allowing that's important. That when you touch someone and just say, have a great day, they feel held, they feel loved when you say that. And that is probably all they needed that day. They don't need you to figure something out and make something and do something for them and heal them. They don't need that. They just needed your love. And so the courage to know that that's enough, the courage for the creative ideals to know that their ideas, their brilliance is enough, is key. And it makes you not crazy when you actually present this thing that other people would say, well, what's just an idea? Or what's just having feelings? They're everything when that's your purpose, when that's your greatness. So what about the people who are the caretakers, the givers, the ones who would give you their shirt off their back, the ones who really don't feel like, I don't really want anything from me. I want us. I want to serve other. I love to serve other people. I love people. Well, if that's your greatness and you're a team player and you really know how to work well with the team, well, sometimes when you feel like, when you're being told, no, you should know what you're doing, you should start your own business, you should be doing things on your own, and what do you want to do in your life? And you're like, I don't know. What do you want to do? And there's like, don't ask me that question. What do you want to do? You should know what you want to do, especially if you're a guy and you're a team player. People are telling you your whole life, you should know what you want to do. Well, it's the same thing in female, male. We all have the people that have that compassion, that care for other people. You have to see that as a power. And it's not that you don't have your own will. It's not that you don't have your own desire, but your desire is to connect deeply with other people. Simple. And you want that, and that's your power. And your power is to remind other people that they're important and that you make them feel important. You make them feel wonderful about themselves. So what I want you to do now is I want you to go to the achiever. Okay, so now how many of you are achievers? How many of you are thinking that, well, that's the right thing to do, I'm an achiever? But it's crazy. The achievers already know that they're doing the right thing because they're successful at doing it. And achievers are always successful at what they tend to do. But success is a tricky thing. Success has nothing to do with the outside world. Even though everybody's trying to get their success in the outside world. Success is this ability to be courageous enough to share your truth. And so a knowledgeable achiever, the achiever has to acknowledge and feel within them this sense of connection, this broader sense of not just there is a right thing to do, but that everything is right in the world. So they open to this wisdom within them rather than their knowledge. Knowledge is finite, and it gets you something. It gets you paid well. It gets you this. It gets letters behind your name. But the true gift, the true power, the true greatness of the knowledgeable achiever is that they have wisdom. They actually can take in an entire environment and perceive how everything is totally working beautifully together. And so the power of the knowledgeable achiever isn't just that they can build a skyscraper and that they can create fantastic businesses and organizations that everybody works well within. Their greatness is that they perceive the deepest truth in others, and so when they're hiring somebody for a position or when they're putting a group together, they know how this person works there and this person works there. They intuitively understand the qualities, the profiles in other people, and so they're able to do that. So the greatness in a knowledgeable achiever isn't just what they do. That's that's the rule keeper. That's they're doing it, all they're doing. But the being part, when they actually open their heart and realize that they're connected at a universal level, not just at a planetary level, to everything, and they can see how everything works, then they share that, and they can see how you fit in your life. Or they can say, oh, you know what? I think if you moved over here, that would be perfect. This would be the perfect job for you. And they can be great guides and counselors in the world. And then finally, the last one are the leaders. And leaders they're here to inspire, and their greatness is that they inspire. They do tend to be, and keep in mind that they tend to be either an incredible example or a terrible warning, and that's part of who they are, and they always will be, and they'll have those big energetic mood swings because they have the same energy of the emotional intelligence specialists, the same feelings as the soft ones, but they get this huge charge that goes with it. So they have this drive, and then they have this, they feel indignant and they fight for things and they find a cause. But the key with the charismatic leader, what we call the leaders in the world, is that when they're in their power, they're incredibly charming. They're incredibly inspiring for all of us, and they're willing to find. And for the leaders, their greatness is that they can see immediately what a good cause is when they're out of defense, when they're in their core. They see a good cause and they're willing to do whatever it takes to further that cause. Of course, when they're in their defense, just like the rule keeper makes success their whole purpose, well, the charismatic leader makes control and power their and controlling a situation, and they'll do it in any way they have to, good, bad, and different. But when they're in their core, when they're in their core, real courage for the charismatic leader is finding something that's bigger than themselves, and then investing all of their time and effort and energy into that. So now we've talked about, we've talked in the last video about what's not crazy. What's not crazy is being who you are, recognizing that there's a quality in you that's real. And now we've realized that there's a very specific kind of courage that each one needs. The charismatic leader needs to find something ahead of that's bigger than themselves to invest and trust and surrender to. The knowledgeable achiever has to realize that they're not a doing machine, that who they are and who other people are and their deepest quality is what you really want to draw forward, because that's real success. And the team players are the ones who realize that the greatest gift in the world is to remind other people how loved they are and how held they are, and how supported they can be in getting where they're going in their life. And then the emotional intelligence specialist, the courage is to know that softness is power. Gentleness really is going to solve all of our problems in the world. You are actually the savior of the world when you're willing to stand in love and not be hurt and realize that Christ's message was love thy neighbor. And you can do that. You can teach us all that. And for the creative idealist, realizing that the world, the courage is to see the world not as such a scary place, but a place that their ideas can land and be fertile ground in other people's minds, and not be afraid to share their ideas, even if they're seen as maybe a little crazy. So that's the courage. And so now the next step, my next video, will be on the energy. What's it like? So you've got to have your clarity of purpose, and you've got to have the courage to follow it. But if you don't have the energy to do that every day, if you don't have the energy to get up, and for me to get up and keep coming up with these ideas and keep putting them out there and keep trying to share them with as many people as I can, I can't live my life purpose. I fall short. I get sick. I get tired. I give up.